Hi everyone, my name is Anthony Joseph. I'm 36 years old and currently by profession I'm a compliance specialist. I do internal audits in my company. So prior to the pandemic, I would travel around to different facilities, performing audits. But during the pandemic, I kind of work remotely from home now. And that's been kind of interesting, but it's been rewarding also because it allowed me to do other things with my time in between traveling and being away from home so much. So I picked up different hobbies just to keep myself busy when I'm not working. So when the pandemic hit last year, 2020, I decided, okay, what can I do with my extra time that I have, just sitting at home? So as a kid, I've always been fascinated with airplanes, looking up at the sky, wondering, hey, what makes an airplane fly? What is it like to fly an airplane? I had my first opportunity, say about over 20 years ago. I had an old friend who I grew up with. He had a Piper Cherokee 6 that his dad had purchased for him. He had his private pilot license, and I had the experience of flying with him a few times, and it was awesome. He would let me, take control of the yoke here and there, and just having that feel, made me even more curious. But that didn't happen right away for me as far as, getting into aviation. So it took me some time. And like I said, with the pandemic, I wondered, okay, what can I do with my time now? And just thinking back 20 years ago, I decided, let me give this a try. So I looked around, found a flight school, found an instructor, and then decided, okay, I'm gonna do this. After deciding, I'm gonna do aviation, I decided, hey, why not buy an airplane, okay? So from there, I thought about it and I just started, gathering information, searching the internet, talking to other pilots, talking to A&P mechanics, and doing all of that process, the whole process, I stumbled across my Cherokee 180. Okay, now the whole buying process wasn't easy. It was kind of stressful here and there because you're wondering, what should I be looking for? But as I said, I had some good advice from other people who had a little bit more experience than I did at the time, okay? So during the buying process, I contacted the owner, started, asking about the aircraft, and then we began a negotiation on the price. He wanted $60,000 for this Cherokee 180. I was able to negotiate it down to $52,000. Okay, some people may think, hey, that's a lot of money. But, during my process, I came to, figure out what drove the pricing of an aircraft, okay? So during my learning experience, I found out that the engine was a major component of pricing out an aircraft, okay? Well, my current aircraft has about 180 hours total time on a factory reman engine, which kind of drove up the value of the airplane, okay? Also, the avionics, well, they're not fairly up to date, but they're still pretty decent, which actually added more value to the aircraft. So when you compile that with the airframe, it came up to $52,000, dollars once all the pricing was done. So we settled on the price and I made the purchase. Some of you may wonder, why did I decide to buy an aircraft? Well, starting out as a zero-time pilot, I weighed the pros and cons of rental versus ownership. And during that process, I'm an economical guy. I always look at numbers, in my career, I deal a lot with, looking at, numbers. So I decided, the cost of ownership would be more beneficial to me because I plan to take the aircraft all the way through training for my private instrument commercial, and also one day to get my CFI certificate as well. So I decided that owning would be a better option for me. Now, for some people who can't afford to buy, they may go towards renting, but just for me and my personal goals, ownership was by far the best option. When I decided to finally make the purchase and purchase my own aircraft, I decided I need to find the perfect situation as far as training. I looked up local flight schools in my area and I found a CFI that was perfect fit for me. So I went ahead and made my purchase. And then me and my CFI actually traveled to the place where I bought it from, which actually was in Florida, and we went and picked up the aircraft and flew it back to my home base here in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Flying the airplane back was actually my first lesson in aviation. It was by far, you know, one of the most unique experiences I've had in my life. I spent maybe 4 or 5 hours, you know, flying cross country in my own aircraft, which was exhilarating to me. You know, it gave me a newfound sense of freedom, you know, almost like a bird. You know, a bird can flap its wings and pick up and go where it wants. That's how I felt, you know, owning and purchasing my aircraft and flying it for the first time with my instructor. Okay, so doing my training, I started out with 0 time. So I'm a brand new pilot, student pilot, working on my private certificate, and it's been like I said, a fun journey. Just being able to come to the airport, you know, pull my airplane out the hangar and take it up, you know, whenever the weather permits, it's nothing like that, you know. So if you can afford to buy an airplane, I will always recommend doing so because you'll never regret it. Now, it gets pretty expensive, you know, which I found to learn about aviation. If you have $1 in your pocket, aviation will take that $1 from you. So don't think it's cheap. But it's definitely something that you'll really enjoy if you have a passion for flying, which I do. And like I said, I would do this until the day I die because I just love, you know, being up in the sky and just being able to go where I want to go. So hopefully, you know, when I get my private certificate, you know, I will be able to travel across the US, you know, even as far as the Caribbean. You know, I just want to go wherever I can go in my airplane. As I said, aviation has been an exhilarating experience for me. And when I decided to do it, you know, my family and friends were like, they were flabbergasted, like, really, dude, are you going to buy a plane? And so I've had some, you know, some odd stares here and there because people really didn't believe I was going to do it until I really did it. But since I've done it, you know, I've had some family, I have had some friends that had, you know, say, hey, I would never do that. And then there's some that say, hey, way to go. But overall, I've had a positive feedback experience. You know, people, you know, have been supportive in me, you know, pursuing my dream of aviation. And so one of those people who's been really supportive is my fiance. Okay. Now, at first, I wouldn't say she was, you know, the most keen on the idea, but during my flight training, she's been really supportive, you know, and also I've been able to kind of educate her a little bit to knowing, okay, what to expect, you know, once I do reach my private, you know, certificate. And then she gets the first experience of traveling somewhere with me, you know. So she's open to that promise and the idea of, you know, us being able to freely just travel and experience, you know, different places, you know. I plan on getting my private certificate in this airplane, also my instrument rating, and also my commercial rating as well. After that, I plan on getting my CFI and my CFII, okay? Once I do that, then, you know, I'm pretty much open to anything as far as teaching others, but like I said, mostly I bought the airplane because I have a passion for traveling and experiencing different places, different cities. So that's mainly what I want to do with my airplane. Now, I do have plans on in the future, you know, I may go ahead and, you know, use this for instruction and also purchase another aircraft for my personal travels, or I may just use this for some time and travel the US with it. If you're interested or been thinking about getting into aviation, from my take, you know, just being a regular guy, you know, working a regular job or have a regular career, I would tell you to just give it a try, okay? Go ahead and look up a flight school in your area, find a CFI, you know, someone you can relate to. Because what I found out in my journey is being relatable to your CFI helps the learning process go much easier. You know, when you guys interact well, you know, almost like a friend, okay? If you're like a friend with your CFI, you're gonna find out your training is gonna just be that much smoother for you because you guys are gonna have that chemistry, okay? So if you're thinking about getting into aviation, just take that first step. Even if you don't wanna make a full commitment and buy an airplane like I did, you can also take a discovery flight, you know, half an hour, just to see, hey, is this really for me before I spend that money? You know, that's a good way to start. You know, take a discovery flight, go around the traffic pattern, fly around your area, and just get a feel of an airplane and what it does. And that will let you know, hey, I really want to do this, or you know what, I had that experience and it's just not for me.